Now then, today you're joining us on tour. That's right, we're not at the local track, we've headed down to TeamSport Liverpool and, my god, it is so much better. It's my stag do, but we haven't hit the beers just yet, so our times should still be half decent. I'm just going to be aiming for something that begins with a 3. That'd be nice, since it is our first time here. Anyhow, if you haven't got one already, go grab yourself a cuppa, get sat down, and let's get into it. That's right, it's my stag do, but before the night turned south and we were doing 𝙁𝙊𝙄𝙉𝙊𝙆, we were booked on here at TeamSport Liverpool. The track layout looks pretty good, to be honest. It's mainly set on one level that looks nice and grippy, but there is a flat out bridged section that takes you from one end of the track to the other. Long straights, fast flowing corners and a wide track. It's literally the complete opposite of our local track at Stockton, so it should be a nice change. If you've watched any of the karting videos I've posted over the last few months, then there are a few familiar faces racing today. Obviously there's me, but we've also got Jim, Glenn, Tom and Morris. However, there are a few newbies with us today and all. Pizza Paul has gone with a tactical name change on his TeamSport account. Sam and Chambo have a major disadvantage since they both have an extra 25 kilograms to lug around the track with them. Healy is about the same build as me, so he's got no excuses, and 𝙁𝙊𝙄𝙉, Jake and Steve haven't been karting since they were kids, but on a track with as much grip as this, it shouldn't be too much of a problem. Rolling out of the pits for the first time, and I could instantly tell that this track was going to be good. We were in what looked like brand new karts, and the grip even on stone cold tyres was phenomenal compared to the polished concrete floor at Stockton. It's not perfect though. The placement of the lights wasn't great, so if you weren't actively looking at them you might miss if they switched to yellow or red. There's no marshal post in the centre of the track, which is the tight twisty bit where you're most likely to spin, and considering it's an indoor track, the final couple of corners are quite bumpy. But now that I've had a whinge, let's go racing. Everyone was in the same boat for this session, no one had ever been to this track before. But I might have watched someone doing a hot lap on YouTube before I jumped into my kart, which probably explains why I was cutting through the pack on the first lap like a hot knife through butter. Butter. Since it is a new track though, let me show you a full lap without cutting any bits out. T1 and T2 are back-to-back hairpins, but they are super wide and I'm 100% sure that you can take them faster than this, but, you know, traffic. On the exit of the second one, which is a right-hander, you want to make sure you carry as much momentum as possible on the exit, because this takes you up and over the bridge section, which has a sweeping right and left before dropping you back down the other side into like a teardrop. It's a corner that just never ends. There's another right-left combo on the exit of that before this tight left hairpin that's wide on entry and narrow on the exit. Then you have a combo of right-handers which can be taken all as one turn if you nail it, and this leads you onto the quickest part of the track. There's a slight kink left taking you onto the back straight, and then these two left-handers can be taken flat out when your tyres are warm, which brings us to the end of the lap. Now I spent the first 3 or 4 laps by myself, but I wasn't too bothered. I was absolutely buzzing because this track was so much fun to drive. You could gather up a reasonable amount of speed. I mean, I've been in faster karts, but it was just the fact that the concrete was so grippy, which we don't have the luxury of at our local indoor track unfortunately, so you could take turns flat out. It wasn't long though before the inevitable yellow flag was waved, and 𝙁𝙊𝙄𝙉 really took the walking pace command seriously. I've seen double amputees walk quicker. When it switched back to green, I think I might have got the jump on them because of the placement of the lights, but, you know, we'll take it. The last couple of corners here are mega. Being able to take them flat out without worrying that you're going to understeer into the tyres should be what every indoor track's like, and it seemed to be one of the few places where I was gaining time on the people ahead of me. The drive you get out of T2 really does make a big difference as well. If you get a poor exit like I did here, you've got no chance of gaining a position before the chicane at the top of the bridge. But because the entry into turn 5 is so wide, you can pick people off who use a little bit too much brake, no bother at all. There were a few more overtakes before the yellows came out again, and when I looked behind me, Jim was right on my arse. And he was amazed at how much grip we had as well. Over the last couple of laps in this session, where you're generally going your fastest, I hit traffic on every lap, and we had another yellow. But I think we only had 3 or 4 for the entire session, which is decent considering some of these boys haven't been karting in literally decades. Anyhow, after the first session, this is how we finished. Jim pipped me to first place by nearly 2/10. I hadn't quite broke into 39 seconds just yet, but it was looking good for the next session, and Glenn in third place was clear of the rest of the field by 1.5 seconds. Now we weren't meant to do a grid start and have a race for the second session, but yeah, that didn't end up happening for some reason. And because the formation lap just turned into a rolling start, I didn't know if I'd started my GoPro, so I had to shout 𝙁𝘍𝙊𝙄𝙉 while I was overtaking him. Got the big thumbs up though, didn't I? So we're all good. Dropping down the other side into T5, and you can just see in the distance Jake playing bumper cars with himself, not once, but twice hitting the barrier. And then as we come into T8, the red light started flashing, and he smashed into me, and then just fucked off. Fair enough. That unfortunately knocked my GoPro down a little bit, so the angle is a bit sketchy for the rest of the session, but we still managed to catch this lovely double overtake on the inside of turn 5. There was that much grip there, you didn't even have to brake if you had the balls big enough. You just scrubbed the speed when you turned into the corner. Brownie had a little bit of a moment before the up ramp. I mean, it looked like I touched him, but honestly, I didn't. That's got to be the only reason why I got told to stop bumping people, even though there was no contact, you know, but that's just the marshal seeing things again. Literally one lap later though, there was a little bit of scrubbing as I made an ambitious but fair move on 𝙁𝘍𝙁𝙁 over the bridge, which had to wait until the next corner to get finished off. And that's not the last bit of action you're going to see over there either.
You can't park there, sir.
I know I can't park.
I noticed Jim and Glenn were ahead as we flew around the last sector, and we were all about to hit the same traffic at the same time going into turn 1. Jim gave Glenn a quick nudge and I threw it around the outside hoping to get past both of them in one corner, and it did work, but it put me on the more shallow line for the second hairpin, and we ended up having a three-way drag race going up the ramp and through the chicane. I really should get a 360 camera, shouldn't I? That'd have looked mint. But I was just concentrating on getting past 𝙁𝘍𝙁𝙁 and Arnott before I was re-overtaken by the two lads behind. Next lap I managed to get a decent run on Paul, who had surprised himself by finishing 4th in the first session, and just as I started to pull away we had a red flag. After a quick chat, the parting words were, see about that. 1 lap later, and fair enough, he was still there. 2 laps later though, you didn't use enough glue, mate. Just as I closed in on Sam, the checkered flag was waved, and that was it. Our time here at TeamSport Liverpool was over, but had I managed to break the 40-second barrier, and had I managed to beat Jim, because it would be quite embarrassing to turn up in all this gear and then not come first. But yeah, I did. If you're thinking of coming here, do it. It is definitely worth the trip, even if it's not local to you. Hopefully I'm not the only one to highlight the fact that the marshal post and the lights need to be moved around, and they can sort those things out, but as for the track, it's absolutely mint. If you enjoyed the video, drop it a like. These karting videos don't do as well as my normal stuff, but hopefully they'll start to grow because I like making them. Leave a comment down below as well for exactly the same reason, and yeah, there's plenty more videos like this coming in the future, so you can always subscribe so you don't miss out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!